tests become toxic when they start changing the way we think and feel about education. They become toxic when we start using the wrong tool the wrong way. But when we hold kids' graduation to that, that's toxic.
Our next presenter is quite an activist. He's been an activist in movements for social justice and for radical social change since 1967. Wow. I'm humbled by his resume. Peter Bohmer. He's included issues in his activism such as anti-racist organizing and solidarity movements with the people of Vietnam, Southern Africa, Puerto Rico, Cuba, Palestine, Central America, Venezuela, all against U.S. imperialism and intervention. For Peter's activism and teaching, he was targeted by the FBI. He has a PhD in economics from the University of Massachusetts, where he wrote a dissertation of the political economy of racism. He teaches political economy at the Evergreen State College in Olympia and is active in organizing for economic justice and justice against U.S. militarism, war, and intervention. Peter Bohmer is passionately committed to anti-capitalism and the development of a participatory socialist alternative. He is a union member of United Faculty at Evergreen, and he is the parent of 3 sons and a daughter. Please welcome to the stage, Peter Bohmer.
Thanks for inviting me, and I want to thank the teachers, the students, and everybody else who came out today. We're living in a society of huge and obscene income and wealth inequality. The 1% owns 40% of the wealth of our country. Even using the official poverty line, which is totally inadequate, over 1/5 of all youth are below the official poverty line. For Black, Latino, and Native American youth, it's over 1/3. The main building of public housing in this country is the construction of prisons. The U.S. has over 2 million people in prison. A society that's this unequal is not truly democratic. Those with wealth and power have disproportionate influence in the economics and politics of this country, although there's popular resistance. Sadly, this is reflected in the pro-corporate policies of both major political parties. The purpose of education should be to further a democratic society where students develop more than just writing, reading, and quantitative skills, but equally important, learn how to think critically. Good education should further creativity, solidarity, and empathy for oppressed people, an intolerance for racial, gender, economic, and all forms of inequality and injustice, a commitment to activism and citizen involvement for economic and social justice, and for the physical and mental health of the individual and the society. The push toward more and more standardized testing, towards more toxic testing, is a step in the wrong direction. We must challenge and stop it and propose and work for alternatives. High-stakes standardized testing promotes an education that's numbing and deadening to the students and teachers. It promotes memorization and rote learning rather than creativity and a multidimensional and interdisciplinary approach to learning and to solving problems. For example, think about an education that addresses an interdisciplinary approach to, for example, to climate change, to think about climate change or how to end poverty on a national, local, and global scale. When the future of students and teachers depends on doing well on one-size-fits-all tests, the education that's so necessary to our survival and health becomes impossible. Moreover, the unstated role of standardized tests, from IQ tests to SAT tests to the WASLs to the present No Child Left Behind test, has always been to justify the race, gender, and class inequalities in our society. In a society as continually unjust as ours, education in general, and these tests in particular, are used to perpetuate the myth that we're living in an equal opportunity society. And it's the fault of those who are poor or unemployed or in prison for their situation. And that the rich and the powerful succeeded because they're smarter, did well on their tests, and were better students. I'm reminded of somebody who said George Bush was born on third base and he thought he hit a triple. Rather the economic and social reality is the working of a capitalist society based originally on slavery and the dispossession of Native Americans, and continues today with the exploitation of working people in the United States and globally. This is not to deny the heroic work of some teachers who every day try to challenge these systemic inequalities, or the many students who do not accept their position at the bottom of the economic hierarchy. Let me turn to what is to be done. In the short run in Washington State and beyond, we need to build power from below. We need to build movements that connect and link the struggles for quality education from preschool to graduate school for all that's free, against poverty and poverty wages and for a livable wage, for affordable daycare and health care for all, against U.S. militarism, for immigrant and reproductive rights, against racism and mass incarceration, for climate and environmental justice. These must be linked to struggles for tax justice. We should promote the end of the sales tax and instead a progressive income tax where the Microsoft, Googles, and Amazon millionaires pay an amount of taxes that furthers income equality and funds these needed expensive. Washington State, sadly, is number one in the most regressive, unjust tax system in the United States. It's time to change this tax structure. For too long, each issue or group has fought separately for more money for K-12 education, for higher wages and benefits to state workers, or to maintain social programs for the poor. All of these are important, but each group unfortunately has their own lobbyists. Of course, the Democrats and Republicans, for the most part, listen more to the lobbyists for the corporations than to ours. United, we're much more powerful as individual groups. Let's build a movement or movements that connect issues, that goes door to door to listen and to explain what we're doing and want, that's willing to sit in, disrupt business as usual, that builds from the Occupy movement of 2011. Visiting legislatures, voting, lobbying is okay, but it's not enough. It's not enough. It doesn't mean begging the Democrats to give us a few crumbs. Republicans are hopeless. It means building labor unions with the power of membership that connects the issues and movements. It means social movement unionism, not business unionism. In the longer run, it means building and creating a society on meeting people's needs, not a system based on profits, where we all have meaningful jobs at reduced hours at a living pay, where our basic needs are guaranteed, where education is lifetime and liberatory, where all forms of oppression are ended, where living in harmony with the natural environment, with our fellow human beings around the world becomes a reality. It's possible and necessary. Si se puede. Thank you.